Alrighty, Chef Buck here, and today we're going to cook up a Latin American dish. This is a dish from El Salvador called Pupusas.
Pupusas.
So check out my pupusas. But basically we're going to take corn flour and we're just going to make a filling, wrap it up in corn flour, and then lightly fry it. We're using corn flour, so it's a gluten-free option depending on what you're going to fill it with. And one of the things that I like to use as a filling is some meat. You don't have to, because you know, a lot of times when you see pupusas, it's just filled with some peppers and cheese. But we're going to put a little meat in there. In fact, I've got a leftover rib. We've got one lonely rib left over from a few days ago. So I'm going to go ahead and mince this up and make this part of our pupusas filling. You can use sausage, you can use chicken, you can use, whatever kind of leftover meat that you have. You could just do beans and cheese, or cheese and peppers, so you can fill it with whatever you want. We just happen to have this rib, and I happen to like it with a little bit of meat flavor, so we're going to use it. Yeah, we're going to put a little refried beans in there. I've already got a can open, so I'm just going to spoon a little bean in here with this meat. A little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt. I'm going to throw in some pickled green chilies. These aren't very hot, but it's going to add a nice flavor. And then I'm going to throw in some cheese. This is just a little bit of Monterey Jack and a little pepper jack. But use whatever kind you want. Some people like to use cheddar cheese, like a yellow cheese. I like a white cheese. And I like it to be nice and a soft cheese that'll melt really easily. And so we'll just mix this up. And you could add some seasoning to this. I just got some salt and pepper, but the meat's already flavored. The beans are already flavored. If you wanted to put some cumin and chili powder in here, you could. So there we got our filling, all mixed up. And do this first, before you start on the other things, so that it has time to meld those flavors together. So now we're just going to mix up our flour. We're going to use corn flour. And I just got this, boom, with the regular flour. This is maseca. So we're going to take a little bit of this and throw it in here. And I'm not really measuring it, because you can add water, you can add more of the flour to make as much as you need. And if you find that you need more for this filling, then it's really easy to throw together. In fact, I'm going to put a little bit more in here, just so that I have plenty of it. I'm going to throw a little bit of salt in there. And the secret ingredient, turmeric. Because turmeric's going to add a nice little color. And you could add whatever you wanted. You could add whatever kind of seasoning that you want. Traditionally, it's just the flour and the salt. But I like to add the turmeric for a nice color. It's going to give it a nice golden hue. So I'm going to go ahead and mix this up. And this is just a little warm tap water. And I'm just going to throw this in here and mix it up. Mix it up until you get a nice doughy consistency, where your dough is nice and wet, but it's not so wet that it sticks to everything, because you don't want it to be too sticky. I'm going to add a little bit more water, because you want your dough to be wet enough so that it doesn't crack while it's cooking. You don't want it to be too dry, but you don't want it to be so wet that it is a hassle to handle. And see, look at that nice color that's on there. So it's not going to look as washed out because we added that little bit of turmeric in there. But that turmeric isn't going to be an overpowering flavor. So I'm going to put my skillet on medium-high heat. Use whatever kind of oil you like. Alrighty, so we got our oil heating up. So let's come back over here to the corn flour. And I'm going to take a ball of this. That's kind of big. And the thing is, since I'm cooking it in a skillet, I don't want it to be too big. So I'm going to go ahead and spread it out. And you see it's wet enough to where it's not cracking. I got my water here if I want to add a little bit of water to it to wetten it up. And I'm just making a nice little flat with that. Then I'm going to get a handful of my filling. And I'm just going to throw that on there. Make a nice little ball. And then I'm just going to bring up the edges. Boom, 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 and seal that in there. And I'm going to pull it up, and the extra dough I'm going to take off, because that way it won't be overly doughy. and then I'll just smash it together. And look, some of that's leaking out right there, but that's okay. It's not the end of the world. It doesn't really matter if some of it leaks out. I almost would rather have mine less thick and a little leaky and a little smaller. You could make it more doughy and make it thicker, you know, and it's still going to taste great, but I like it to have a lot of filling and less dough. So there you have it. This is just my uncooked pupusa. Now it's ready to go in the skillet. Just lay that in there. Boom, and while that's going, I'll throw another pupusas together. Another pupusa.
Pupusas.
Wet it up a little bit. Come over here in my skillet and throw another one on here. But like I said, you could make it more doughy if you want to. If you want to put less filling and more dough, you can definitely do that. So it's been a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and flip this first one. Boom.
And what gave you the idea it was ready to flip?
It only takes a few minutes. You know, maybe 2 to 3 minutes per side. It doesn't take long at all. Alrighty, boom. And this is the first one I put in. And I think it's ready to come out. You know, it's been cooking for about 4 minutes, 5 minutes, something like that. And you know, the beans and the cheese is all heated up. The meat was already cooked. So, you know, that didn't need to be cooked through. It's got a nice cheesy, meaty filling in there. And see where I had it and it leaked out a little bit? But that's okay. You know, because it's cheese, it's going to stop melting. It's not going to run out completely. It's going to, you know, that actually adds a nice flavor, you know, having that toasted bit of cheese on there. So these are ready to come out. Boom. This is going to be the fullest pupusa of all time. But this will be my pupusa because it's so full of cheese and meat and beans.
We might have to split it, buddy.
Throw my last big one in there. And because, like I said, I'm cooking it in a skillet, I'm going to turn them around periodically so that so it'll cook a little more evenly. Alrighty, there's my last one. I'm going to go ahead and put it on my plate so that we'll know whose it is. Alrighty, so I got my big overfilled pupusa right here. But here we got our little bit of slaw, and I'm going to go ahead and top my pupusa with a little bit of this slaw. It kind of helps to make it a more complete meal because this is a little bit of cabbage and carrot and a little bit of jalapeno pepper.
You could also have it on the side, right?
You could have it on the side. Alrighty, so there you have it. A little bit of slaw on our pupusa. It tastes so good and it is so easy to make. So there you have it. Pupusas, a bit of slaw that we're throwing on there. Or you could just use sour cream and salsa. If you want to print it out, go to myfoodchannel.com. The link's down below. Subscribe to this channel, you know, and you know, we put video recipes all the time. Like them, thumbs them up, sharing them. Do all that stuff, all that good internet citizen stuff. And we'll see you in the future. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.